Some Volkswagens age like fine German wine. These, more like warm beer left in the sun. They promised Das Auto. What some folks got instead, Das Disaster. These 16 Volkswagens are now officially worthless, and for good reason. From turbo failures to electrical gremlins straight from a horror movie, these cars are more headache than horsepower. If someone offers you one of these for a great deal, just remember, scrap metal has better resale value. Let's break down the worst of the badge. Number 1, the Volkswagen Atlas, 2018 to 2022, looked like VW's Grand American Dream Big, boxy, and built to haul kids, dogs, and Costco hauls without breaking a sweat. But once you scratch the surface, the magic wore off faster than a Florida sunburn. Powered by either a wheezy 2-liter turbo or a V6 that sounded more grunt than go, the Atlas struggled with underwhelming acceleration and an identity crisis. The 8-speed automatic shifted like it had stage fright, and let's not even talk about the jerky throttle response. Inside, spacious, sure, but the cabin quality felt more rental spec than German precision. Tech glitches, leaky sunroofs, rattling panels, and electrical gremlins were common by year 3. Owners also reported premature suspension issues and infotainment systems that loved freezing mid-drive. Fuel economy hovered around 20 mpg combined, which would be fine if it actually offered something luxurious. Spoiler, it didn't. It tried so hard to be a Honda Pilot fighter, but came off like a European exchange student trying to play Texas football. It had the size America loves, but not the reliability it demands. Basically, it was all brawn, no brains, and your wallet paid the price. Number 2, the Volkswagen Taos, 2022 to 2024, showed up like a freshman trying to sit at the senior table bowl, overconfident and completely out of place. Its 1.5-liter Turbo 4 engine squeezed out 158 horsepower, but with all the enthusiasm of a decaf latte. The dual-clutch transmission hunted for gears like it lost its glasses, and the base FWD models got a bargain bin torsion beam rear suspension because nothing says fun like feeling every pothole in your spine. The cabin tried to sell upscale with hard plastic and glitchy tech, while the infotainment system had more bugs than a summer picnic. Turbo lag and jerky shifts made city driving a guessing game, and while VW hyped it as sporty, the Taos took nearly 8.8 seconds to hit 60 miles per rack adjust, enough time to regret your purchase. Rear seat space was decent, but that's like bragging about cup holders in a sinking ship. Priced close to better-built rivals, it became clear this wasn't a baby Tiguan, it was a dressed-up economy car. The Taos aimed high, landed flat, and left drivers wondering why they didn't just buy literally anything else. Number 3, the Volkswagen Jetta, 2019 to 2021, strutted in with slick looks and a German engineering tag that made people expect Autobahn-ready performance. What they got was a glorified economy sedan that ran more like a sleepy Uber. Its 1.4-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder made 147 horsepower, which felt fine if your idea of thrilling is merging at the speed of beige. The 8-speed automatic was smoother than past Jettas, but still about as exciting as elevator music. Interior quality, a mix of nice touchscreen and sad plastic. Reliability, let's just say VW's electronics have the personality of a moody teenager, random glitches, infotainment freezes, and backup cameras with trust issues. The rear seat room was decent, but that's the equivalent of complimenting hospital food because it's warm. Worst of all, for all the talk of efficiency and value, it couldn't quite match Japanese rivals like the Corolla or Civic in long-term reliability or resale. Even the GLI trim, which tried to flex performance, came off like a midlife crisis in front-wheel drive. The Jetta was Volkswagen trying to be practical but forgot how to be passionate. It's the car you settle for, not the one you brag about. Number 4, the Volkswagen Tiguan 2015 to 2020 was VW's attempt at cracking the American crossover code, but instead of a mic drop, it gave us a slow clap. Powered by a 2-liter Turbo 4 making 184 horsepower, it promised German performance but delivered grocery run sluggishness. 0 to 60 in over 9 seconds? That's not sporty, it's coffee break slow. Inside, the cabin teased luxury with soft-touch materials, but was haunted by creaky plastics and tech gremlins. The infotainment system, laggy. The digital cockpit, occasionally forgetful. Third row seat, technically there, but better suited for action figures. And don't get started on the fuel economy, barely scraping 22 mpg city, while rivals sipped smarter. Reliability? Let's just say VW dealerships got really familiar faces. Transmission quirks, engine hesitation, and random electrical tantrums made every trip a gamble. And while it looked Euro chic, the Tiguan's bland driving dynamics screamed rental lot special. In a market flooded with CR-Vs, RAV4S, and CX-5S delivering real value and reliability, the Tiguan tried to ride on its badge and accents alone. Spoiler alert, it didn't work. Buyers expected a baby Audi. They got a moody mid-pack SUV with commitment issues. If disappointment came on four wheels and spoke with a German accent, this was it. Number 5, the Volkswagen ID.4 2021 to 2025 was supposed to be VW's electric redemption arc, spoiler alert. It tripped over its own charging cable. Marketed as the people's EV, it launched with a 201 horsepower single motor that accelerated with the urgency of a turtle on melatonin. Even the AWD model barely cracked 60 miles per hour in under 7 seconds. Range? A claimed 275 miles, but real-world numbers often told a different, less optimistic story. The minimalist interior tried to scream Tesla, but came off more like IKEA on a budget, with unresponsive haptic buttons and a glitchy infotainment screen that had the charisma of a frozen app. Charging times were tolerable. Unless you found yourself at a non-DC fast charger, then you might as well grab dinner and a nap. Handling? Soft and numb, like driving a marshmallow through molasses. And don't even ask about software. Updates some owners waited months just to fix simple bugs. Despite federal tax incentives, it still struggled to compete against Tesla's Model Y or even the Mustang Mach-E in terms of performance, reliability, and resale. VW promised a new era of innovation, but instead delivered a digital headache in hatchback form. The ID.4 wasn't just an EV, it was a masterclass in how to miss the moment while waving a flag. Number 6, the Volkswagen CC 2009 to 2012 was VW's attempt to add a splash of luxury to the Passat-like, dressing up a fast food burger in a tuxedo and calling it gourmet. It looked sleek, sure, with its low roofline and frameless doors, but behind that stylish silhouette was a car plagued by substance issues. The 2-liter turbocharged engine cranked out 200 horsepower, but came with a side of carbon buildup and oil consumption that turned many driveways into crime scenes. Transmission, DSG drama, reliability, spotty at best. The CC loved throwing warning lights like it was Christmas every day. Interior electronics often acted possessed, and the door seals leaked like it thought it was a convertible. Rear headroom? Only if you were under 5'7", or didn't mind slouching like a teenager at Thanksgiving dinner. And let's not forget VW's notorious depreciation. Your CC's value dropped faster than your phone's battery at 1%. It tried to be a budget Benz, but landed more like a fancy headache with German subtitles. In a world of functional sedans, the CC proved once again that pretty faces can still break your heart and your wallet. Number 7, the Volkswagen Arteon 2020 to 2024 looked like a 4-door coupe built by someone who binge-watched Audi commercials and said, yeah, we can fake that. Sleek lines? Sure. But under the hood, a 2-liter turbocharged engine making 268 horsepower, decent but not exactly neck-snapping. VW hyped it as a premium alternative to the Passat, but the Arteon's price tag stretched higher than its actual value. Interior tech felt like it was programmed by intern slaggy screens, glitchy software, and driver assists that were more annoying than helpful. The hatchback design gave it solid cargo space, but who buys a $50 K luxury sedan to haul Costco runs? Sales never really took off. VW pushed less than 30,000 units in the United States across 4 years. And while competitors like the Kia Stinger punched with power and personality, the Arteon whispered from the sidelines, unsure if it belonged with luxury sedans or mainstream mediocrity. The ride was soft, steering numb, and resale value. Practically allergic to holding worth. It wanted to be VW's halo car, but ended up as a well-dressed ghost in the showroom. Number 8, the Volkswagen Routan 2000 and 9 to 2010, is what happens when a German automaker gives up and slaps its badge on an American minivan and hopes no one notices. Underneath the VW emblem lies a Chrysler Town & Country, complete with the same 3.8-liter V6 engine, rough-shifting, 6-speed automatic, and the personality of a soggy paper towel. It offered 197 horsepower of wheeze and handled like a cruise ship on rollerblades. But here's the kicker. Volkswagen removed Chrysler's beloved stow-and-go seating and replaced it with absolutely nothing of value. No German engineering, no VW interior flair, just higher pricing and disappointing plastic trim. It was supposed to be Volkswagen's entry into the minivan market with sophistication and Euro charm. Instead, it delivered a badge-engineered facepalm with mediocre reliability, resale value that nosedived by year 2, and sales so weak they pulled the plug by 2014. It sold fewer than 60,000 units total in the United States because no one asked for a Volkswagen that drove like a rented Dodge from 2005. In the end, the Rutan didn't just miss the market, buried the dartboard in a different zip code. Smash that like button, because what's coming next will make you question every VW badge you've ever trusted. Let's get back to the ride. Number 9, the Volkswagen Passat 2012 to 2015 was VW's grand plan to win over American hearts, stripping away everything that made it a Volkswagen in the first place. Bigger, blander, and built in Tennessee, this mid-size marvel came with the personality of unsalted toast. The once premium interior was downgraded to hard plastics and fake trim that screamed cost-cutting. And while the rear seat could host a yoga class, you'd need one after dealing with the dull 2.5-liter 5-cylinder wheezing out 170 horsepower, or the TDI diesel that became infamous post-Dieselgate. Handling? Softer than grandma's couch. Reliability? Hit or miss. Infotainment? As advanced as a flip phone. VW promised a car for America and instead delivered a watered-down sedan with the soul of a rental. Sales surged at first thanks to the price, but reality caught up fast when buyers realized they traded German engineering for bargain bin mediocrity. And don't even ask about resale value, it drops faster than your phone off the roof. The 2012 to 2015 Passat wasn't a Camry killer, it was a European imposter with a southern drawl, trying way too hard to fit in and failing spectacularly. Number 10, the Volkswagen Golf 2015 to 2020 was supposed to be the people's hatchback sharp, compact, and built with that Euro flair Americans pretend to appreciate. Instead, it became the car equivalent of a hipster who peaked too early. Sure, it had peppy turbo engines and a refined ride, but by the time it hit United States roads, buyers were more interested in crossovers that could carry a kayak and 3 Labradors. Inside, the Golf felt solid until the infotainment glitched or the sunroof leaked like a bad tattoo decision. And let's not forget the TSI oil consumption issues or DSG transmissions that shifted like they were holding a grudge. Enthusiasts praised it, but normal drivers? They mostly just asked, wait, this costs how much? By 2020, sales had tanked and the Golf was yanked from the United States like a sitcom that couldn't find ratings. VW tried to blend fun, practicality, and premium light, but Americans wanted more cup holders, less maintenance, and something taller. So the Golf got ghosted, left behind in favor of SUVs, with zero character but all the buzz. A hatch with heritage, sure, but in the United States, it simply became a quirky relic that couldn't keep up with the suburban sprawl. Number 11, the Volkswagen EOS 2007 to 2011 was VW's bold attempt to blend coupe, convertible, and sunroof into one confused identity crisis on wheels. It came with a 5-piece retractable hardtop that looked cool until it broke. And oh, it broke. Constant leaks, failed motors, and wind noises made every drive feel like a weather experiment. Under the hood, you got a 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder with 200 horsepower, which was zippy until the carbon buildup, oil leaks, and DSG hiccups showed up to ruin your top-down joyride. The EOS tried to sell itself as a premium convertible for the masses, but it ended up being more maintenance queen than weekend cruiser. Interior trims wore faster than a dollar store hoodie, and repairs? You better have a German mechanic on speed dial. Sales never really took off because, shocker, most people don't want a fragile jigsaw puzzle. for a roof. The EOS might have sounded like a Greek goddess, but in reality, it was more like a diva with high demands and constant drama. Volkswagen eventually pulled the plug, and honestly, nobody cried. It promised sunshine and smiles, but mostly delivered shop visits and size. A convertible that folds and folds along with your patience. Number 12, the Volkswagen Scirocco 2008 to 2014 was supposed to be the cool European cousin that finally showed up to the American part you accept. Surprise, it never did. VW teased us with this sleek, low-slung hatchback that looked like it belonged in a Fast and Furious side mission, but then decided we weren't worthy. Underneath, it shared bones with the Golf GTI, packed up to 265 horsepower in the R version, and had handling that could actually make corners fun. But while Europe got the joyride, we got commercials and envy. Even overseas, the Scirocco wasn't all smooth roads. Cramped rear seats, awful visibility, and interior plastics that felt more budget airline than Euro performance didn't help its case. Add in DSG transmission tantrums and turbo issues, and the Scirocco started feeling more like a pretty face with commitment issues. Enthusiasts loved it, sure, but real-world buyers wanted practicality, space, and something less likely to whine at 60,000 miles. By 2017, VW pulled the plug. In the end, the Scirocco was all hype, little staying power, a seductive fling you remember fondly until you recall the drama. Fun to look at, fun to drive for someone else in another country with better luck. Number 13. The Volkswagen Cabrio, 1995 to 2002, was the kind of car your friend's artsy older sister drove and regretted. Based on the ancient Mach 3 Golf platform, the Cabrio was already outdated when it hit the showroom floor. Sure, the soft top had that carefree, wind-in-your-hair vibe, but only if you didn't mind leaks, tears, and a top mechanism that acted like it had stage fright. Under the hood, the 2-liter 4-cylinder wheezed out a sluggish 115 horsepower, barely enough to outrun disappointment. The interior was peak 90s plastic, fantastic, with buttons that wore down faster than your patience. And while it tried to pose as a fun, affordable convertible, it spent more time in the shop than at the beach. Window regulators, electrical gremlins, and rust made ownership a long-term relationship with mediocrity. Safety, let's just say crumple zones, weren't exactly its strength. VW milked this relic until 2002, long after its charm curdled. In the end, the Cabrio was like that thrifted leather jacket. Seemed like a fun idea at first, but reality hit hard. It wasn't cute. It wasn't fast. It was just slow, squeaky, and soaking wet when it rained. Number 14. The Volkswagen Touareg 2004 to 2007 was VW's attempt to crash the luxury SUV party, and it brought a fruitcake. Co-developed with Porsche and Audi, it shared DNA with the Cayenne and Q7, which sounds impressive until you remember it still had that VW badge trying to pass for premium. It offered fancy air suspension, V8, or even a V10 diesel that sounded beastly until the repair bills rolled in like tsunami waves. Electrical issues, transmission glitches, and an appetite for costly maintenance made owners question their life choices. And let's talk MPG. This thing guzzled gas like it was hosting its own fuel crisis. The interior was upscale-ish, but by 2007 standards, it aged like milk in a sauna. Rear seat legroom, hope your passengers don't have knees. VW aimed for Range Rover class, but hit used exterior reality. Off-road capability was great on paper, but most buyers never left the Whole Foods parking lot. It was over-engineered, overpriced, and underwhelming once reality set in. The Touareg looked the part, but played the role of luxury headache a little too well. A Euro pretender that couldn't quite fake it till it made it just fake enough to regret. Number 15. The Volkswagen Bora, 1999 to 2005, was supposed to be the classy, grown-up Jetta butt. Ended up feeling like a Jetta that just overdressed for a job it couldn't handle. VW thought slapping a new badge on it would magically elevate its status, but under the sheet metal, same old compact DNA with a fancier name. The 2-liter engine barely cracked 115 horsepower, and driving it felt like dragging a suitcase through wet cement. Handling was numb, acceleration was meh, and let's not even get started on the rear legroom unless your passengers were toddlers or legless mannequins. Inside, it teased luxury but delivered rattle-prone plastics and fading buttons. Electrical bugs loved the Bora like a second home, and those coil packs, always ready to leave you stranded at the worst time. Suspension wore faster than your patience, and repairs cost just enough to question your entire investment. VW tried marketing it as European elegance on a budget, but buyers quickly found out it was more like middle-class frustration in a tuxedo. Stylish? Sure. Reliable? Only if you consider duct tape a permanent solution. The Bora wanted to be a budget, Autobot ended up just a confused Jetta with champagne dreams and beer performance. Number 16, the Volkswagen Fox 2004 to 2009 was VW's idea of cheap and cheerful, but let's be honest, it mostly nailed the cheap part. Designed for emerging markets and shoehorned into Europe like a budget Band-Aid, the Fox tried to pass as a sensible city car. What buyers got was a painfully bare-bones hatchback that felt like it was built in a rush with leftover golf parts and zero passion. The 1.2-liter and 1.4-liter engines offered the excitement of a lukewarm, soda-sluggish, uninspired, and barely functional on highways. Inside, the cabin was a sea of hard plastics and depressing grays, with ergonomics clearly designed by someone who's never sat in a car. Safety? 2 stars in Euro NCAP, because why not roll the dice on your spine? The ride was stiff, the handling numb, and cabin noise made you second guess if the windows were closed. Electrical gremlins and rust issues aged this car faster than milk in the sun. VW promised affordable German engineering, but delivered a car that felt more like community college homework, technically complete, but begging for a redo. The Fox wasn't a hatchback, it was an apology letter on wheels. Economical, sure, but so is walking, and walking never gave you this many repair bills. Volkswagen has built icons, but these 16 didn't make the cut. They remind us that lasting value comes from smart engineering, not just badge appeal. Which VW surprised you the most? Or do you have one that's defied the odds? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button, and subscribe for more racing and car content that celebrates true automotive staying power.